Taking a rough sketch and turning it into a final professional floor plan is, well, it's way more than just cleaning up a few lines. It's actually a fundamental part of the design process itself. It's a journey where ideas get sharpened, tested, and ultimately perfected. But how does that transformation really happen?
That's the big question, right? We're going to break that whole process down, how a loose concept, maybe something scribbled on a napkin, becomes a precise drawing that communicates every single critical detail of a space.
And this is the part you've got to remember. Refining a plan isn't just about making it look pretty for a presentation. Nope. It's an active, hands-on phase of design where you're making these small but incredibly important decisions that really perfect the final solution.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll explore the art of refinement itself. Then, we're going to decode the language of lines to get that visual clarity. After that, we'll uncover some killer techniques for enhancing your presentation. And finally, we'll see how all of this helps you find your own unique design voice.
All right, let's dive right into our first section, the art of refinement. The best way to think about this is like the final editing phase for a book. The main story is already there, but you're going back and polishing every sentence to make it absolutely perfect. This quote just nails it. Just like a writer doing a final edit, you're not trying to rewrite the whole story. You're just looking at all the little details with a fresh pair of eyes, catching small mistakes, and spotting those opportunities to make it even better. So what kind of changes are we actually talking about here? It's all the small stuff that ends up making a huge difference. Things like adding an end table to see how a room really lives, or switching a sliding door to a bifold to save a little space. Maybe you just shift a wall a few inches to make the furniture fit better, or move a doorway to create a more useful patch of wall. See? These are refinements, not radical overhauls. Now, whether you work by hand or digitally with CAD, that's computer-aided design and drafting, the thinking is exactly the same. The only real difference is in the workflow. With hand drawing, you'd probably lay a piece of tracing paper over your rough plan to create an intermediate drawing. But in CAD, you just work on a copy of the file, and that refined version can often evolve directly into your final presentation plan, which, let me tell you, is a massive time saver. Okay, let's move on to the second part of our journey, the language of lines. Because a floor plan really is its own visual language, and its grammar, it's all about the weight, the thickness of the lines you use. This is where it gets really interesting. Think about it. The walls get the darkest, boldest lines because they're the most important structural info. Then furniture gets a medium line weight, so it pops but doesn't overpower the walls. And all the finer details, like door swings or floor patterns, use the lightest lines. This isn't just for looks. This clarity is absolutely crucial on a construction site, where misreading a plan can lead to some seriously expensive mistakes. A clear hierarchy makes a plan instantly readable for everyone. So, with that foundation in place, we get to the really fun part, Section 3, enhancing your presentation. This is where we take a technically correct plan and turn it into a compelling visual story that feels professional and, well, alive. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got a minimal, bare-bones plan. It works, it gets the layout across, but on the right, the enhanced plan does so much more. It has depth, it has texture, it has a sense of atmosphere. It's not just a diagram anymore, it's a picture of a real space. So how do we get there? What's the secret sauce? It's a combo of some really clever techniques. Adding a solid tone, or poché, to the walls gives them real mass. Light floor patterns in the kitchen and bath help define those areas. Subtle wood grains on furniture help lift them off the floor visually. Area rugs add scale and a sense of coziness. And those dotted lines, they can show important things happening overhead. Every single layer adds more information and a ton of character. Let's just zoom in on that one key term I mentioned, poché. It's pronounced poché, and it's really just the simple technique of filling in the walls. It is one of the single most effective ways to make your architectural elements feel solid and ground the entire drawing. It dramatically improves how clear it is to read. And all of this brings us to our final section, finding your design voice. Because at the end of the day, these techniques aren't rigid rules you have to follow. They are tools in your toolkit for developing a style that is 100% yours. Look at these two examples. Totally different vibes, right? One is hand-drawn with these rich textures and freehand lines. The other is CAD-drawn with that crisp precision and clean patterns. Both are sophisticated, professional, and super effective. It just goes to show that a strong design voice isn't tied to a specific medium, but to how you choose to use the tools you've got. So, the real takeaway here is that developing your own style is a process of emulation. When you see a drawing you admire, don't just appreciate it, study it. Try to replicate its techniques. You're not trying to create a perfect copy. Instead, you'll end up blending those new techniques with your own. And this really matters because a distinct voice is what sets you apart professionally. It's how clients start to recognize your work and trust your vision, turning what you do into a signature brand. This all leads to one final question for you to think about. As you go from your own rough sketches to your finished solutions, what techniques are you going to experiment with? What will you borrow? What will you invent? And how will you combine them all to find your own unique design voice?